Hello, hello. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Today is Wednesday, April 14th. It is just a little bit after 12:30 p.m. And as I always do, let me jump over to Facebook to see if we in fact are streaming. So just bear with me. Let's see here. This has been a big week for me personally. I'd say me and my family, because we actually got vaccinated. So I got my vaccine on Monday. And if I don't know how it is in your city or town, maybe drop into the chat and let me know whether you plan to get vaccinated or you got your vaccine. But vaccines are opening up a bit here in Florida. And on Sunday, my wife and I, we went and went to the local county park, and we had registered, and it was 3 hours of waiting in our car, and we could literally see the tents in sight to get our vaccine. And then a thunderstorm blew in and shut the whole site down. And we had to pack up and head back and try again the next day, which was Monday. And but Monday morning went pretty smooth, and we got out there, got vaccinated, and we did the Pfizer vaccine. And first, our arms are still pretty sore, so it's 2 days later. My left shoulder is still pretty sore, but all in all, I'd say we're in pretty good shape. So it's an exciting. It's a hint that maybe things will be getting back to normal one day soon. We can all hope. If you are out there, I see we got some folks tuned in. Don't be shy. Drop down into the chat. Let me know who you are, maybe where you're coming to us from. And I know Paul, my guest, is he's a celebrity online, and he's well known out there in many different circles. So I'm sure many of you are here to see him. So let me get him formally introduced. This is show number 165. It's exciting to say that number's getting up there. And this show is brought to you by One Firefly. That's my day job. And my guest is Paul Bochner. He is CEO and founder at Electronic Concepts. They are a powerhouse integrator out of the Northeast, the New York, New Jersey, PA marketplace. He might go outside of that. He might even go out to Connecticut and other parts of the Northeast. We'll have to ask him. And Paul is doing some really fun things out there in the world of marketing and video production and photography. And he's an all-around super interesting dude. So I was excited to have him say yes to come and join me on the show. And I know we're all excited to learn a lot more about Paul. So let's go ahead and let's bring him in. So stand by here. Let me see if technology will behave. Paul, how are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going, Ron?
I am good. Where are you coming to us from?
So I am in our new showroom, just about 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, 25 minutes outside of Midtown in New Jersey, North Jersey. And my arm hurts too, Ron. I got my Pfizer one yesterday, so I am feeling your pain.
How did you have any side effects?
I was pretty shot last night. So I got real tired, and I got real, like, I wouldn't say weak. I wasn't like flu weak. Okay. But about 6 hours later, my arm was definitely hurting. Like I leaned against the dorm frame a few minutes ago and was like, yep, nope, not gonna do that again.
I'm a side sleeper, and I will rotate left to right through the night. And it was hurting enough to where I stayed on my right side. I didn't touch my left side. And my wife was the same. So her arm is super tender as well.
Yeah, it was more, my mother and my sister who had been vaxxed are, calling me and my little brother babies because we're complaining about it. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I rolled over in the middle of the night and was, crying. I was unhappy.
Yeah, I would say my symptoms have been pretty mild. I got a little, Monday when I had it that morning. By end of the day, my voice, it felt like maybe it was more scratchy and dry than normal. And I did wake up Monday night, in the middle of the night, with a pretty severe headache about 3 a.m. But I would say Tuesday I was feeling pretty normal, and today I'd say I'm back to full speed.
Yeah, I feel okay today. And yes, I had my shot at like 12:30, so same time yesterday. It's been about 24 hours. A little tired. I'm still a little tired from it, I feel like. And I was hearing maybe some people, if you had a reaction to the first one, it could be that you might have been exposed previously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows if that's true or not.
Who knows? Well,
I'm just glad it's done with. Like you said, time to start looking at more normalcy in the future.
So Debbie tuned in. Debbie said she got, let's see if I can read her message. I saw it, then it went away. It said, Debbie says, my vaccine in Broward took 5 minutes. Debbie, that's not even nice. It took me, I think, a total of 5 hours all in to get my vaccine in Broward.
Yeah, 20 minutes for me. 20 minutes, I was in and out.
Wow. And was it by appointment, or was it?
Yeah, CVS. Went right to a CVS, got an appointment, walked in, there was nobody there, sat down, shot, wait, they make you wait 15 minutes and was gone.
Okay. All right. Well, clearly there are better ways than others to get your vaccine schedule. And then we have Benjamin Davies out there. He said a strong shirt, Paul. He's
the smart homies, my UK friends. Yeah. Ben's got to brand himself. We were talking about before. Ben, you got a smart homie, brand yourself, and then you could wear strong shirts so you could show it off.
All right. So you got to hold the arm up again. What are we seeing there? This is your company logo?
Yeah, it's just our company logo. Yeah. I've had this for a bunch of years.
So I guess there'll be no changing the company logo. You might change your name, but not the icon.
People have asked that, and honestly, even if something changed in the company, I would still feel so passionate about what I did from that point to this point that I'd never want it gone. Right. I mean, it's important to me no matter what. And, my wife and I came up with the concept. She was a graphic designer, made the logo. It's not like, I outsourced this to somebody and they created something and I just stuck it on myself, although it doesn't take much for me to get a tattoo. So it's I mean, like, this was my dog's name, it was pretty, we used to tell people this was my gang name, Tiller.
That's Tiller. That's nice. That's your gang name.
That was my gang name. Yeah.
That's your street name. Brandy here with One Firefly. She says, wait, Paul, a tattoo? You never told me you had a tattoo.
I'm usually wearing a hooded sweatshirt, so nobody sees that one.
That's funny. And I am going to show, you did mention that you have a new design center 20 minutes out of Manhattan. So I guess maybe just tell us at a high level a little bit about the business. What type of projects do you guys do? Do you do resi? Do you do commercial? Maybe a little bit about the size of your business.
Sure. Yeah. So we're a small boutique company is the way I like to put it. We're typically 5 to 7 people. We do a couple $1 million worth of work, for those that are tracking company size, because I know a lot of people like to think about that.
Sure.
1000% resi, high-end residential is what we go for. Besides the CI side, we also obviously have this experience center where we have, hi-fi and other things. So we focus a lot on performance across the board, right? Performance in our networking, in our audio, in our video, in our marketing structures, and in all these things. It's kind of something I like to preach a lot.
All right. Well, I know I definitely have a bunch of topics around everything you just rattled off. I
teed that up for you.
You did. You teed up a lot, but I always love to start with your background. So take us back in time. Sure. When did these high-end speakers and electronics become a twinkle in your eye? How did this all begin?
Yeah, I mean, I was always into audio, even as a young kid, and my father, even at a young age, he was one of those guys that picked up like the first Sony BDP1 or whatever it was, the first CD one a million moons ago, and he was trying to explain to me why a CD was better than a cassette, because we're the same age around, right? We had cassettes.
That's right, I did. I wore my Paula Abdul cassette tape out, man. I listened to that thing so many times.
Yeah, so like he came home, he had no idea what the hell he was talking about, but he was convinced that he was going to explain why a CD was better. I was really into car audio. right? I was making my own speakers and things like that in my teens. And it was not my career path. We were talking about it earlier. I was in like corporate and commercial security. Like I was the guy, the hidden shoppers, busting shoplifters in department stores, and then went into corporate security. And I had just met a guy who was on my ice hockey team at the time. This is in like 98, 97, 98. He was wiring homes and he was into home theater, and he was actually like being subbed out for a company called Talk of the Town Video, which was in northern New Jersey, was probably the only company at the time really doing, home theater and stuff. And this is the late 90s, right? So home theater was really popping at the time. And I ended up going on a job with him on a weekend to help him pull wire and helped him finish the job. And then once I saw what went into a home system versus, burying your neck into a dashboard of a car or doing that, I was done, or chasing shoplifters for $8 an hour and, not so fun places. It just expanded for me from there. So I went in 99. I think I started with Talk of the Town for a few years. And then I ended up at Electronic Environments at the city, who at the time was a much smaller company, but great place I've worked with. Still stay in touch with the owner and a lot of people there. And from there is when I registered my own business, and it started from, my basement to a small office in my tiny house to a storage unit to an office in this building on the other side.
What were your first projects? So when you first established, I'm looking at my notes here. It looks like you established in 04. What was like a project you would do in 04?
Yeah, I mean, 04, like we're talking, we were still doing Prontos probably back in 04 and MX remotes and just doing, small whole house audio systems with volume controls, right? I wasn't really into high level automation at that point. So they were simple jobs. There was no Sonos at that point. It was kind of like people wanted audio or they wanted TVs. A lot of what we did was I had access to Fujitsu TVs, right? So, I cut my teeth making a lot of money on a big TV that was really expensive and being able to install it. Mm-hmm. And then, from there it turned into, making the right contacts, finding people that had bigger projects. When I decided to focus on my own, I had a very clear path of the brands I wanted to work with. I needed to have Bowers, I needed to have Savant. There were a few others that I was like, these are the brands I need and I want to focus on. And once we got to that point, then we fell into this retail space too, which was just purely by chance. I mean, Talk of the Town Video went out of business, and consequently, at the same time, CSA Audio, who was a hi-fi shop that was also within 20 minutes of where we were, two really prominent stores went out. And we happened to be in a building with, we're on, if you know Jersey, we're on Route 17. We're on like the busiest highway connecting the two busiest highways that go into Manhattan. So primely located. It just kind of fell from there. It was like the perfect time. I mean, it was hard work. I'm not going to say it was all luck, but a lot of it was just really great timing and being in the right place at the right time and being able to focus on, again, going from a storage unit to going to the space that we have here, which I know you have some of our content, so we'll be able to see, the toys we have.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys have clearly, you clearly have some impressive gear on display. And before I dig down, I just want to, at a high level, you've chosen this path, at least the optics are, you've chosen this path of high performance 2-channel audio solutions. Is that what you primarily focus on, and you've done that by choice, or do you also do integration and you'll do the occasional listening room? What's like the typical way that clients are engaging you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think a lot of people don't know the answer to that. And a lot of people know me and know my business and would not know how to answer that question. We are CI. We are CI first, right? I am a CI integrator. We're, Savant Advisory Council, Savant Platinum. We do a lot of CI business for a very small company, one in part to how we're focused, to because I have an amazing team that works with me. The majority of my work is CI. Where it transition is that when I say performance, I'm pushing performance into our CI, right? So the hi-fi business, although we do have walk-in and we do have retail traffic for people that are specifically looking for, a 2-channel system, or even maybe a mid-fi system, or they're just shopping for speakers. That's a very small part of the business. The majority of it is educating people on that, helping them guide it, and also educating our CI customers into why they need performance. And it's not just 2-channel, and it's not just, immersive theater. To me, that's performance, right? Having the right network is performance. Landscape lighting, any of the things that we're doing as integrators now, there's a way to do it, and then there's the performance way to do it. And we've chosen that we'd rather do more, I don't know the right way to say this, more quality projects, or deliver a better quality product to fewer customers than just do more projects for more people that might be mediocre, right? That I'm not happy with, or that they're not happy with.
Did you always know that, or was that learned?
It was definitely learned. I definitely was firing them out, like for a couple of years, just firing out, taking whatever I can. And then where the switch happened for me was where we were let down by manufacturers, right? We were let down by a subpar product or a subpar service, and realizing that I didn't have to do it that way, right? It just didn't have to be the way that we did it. And I mean, we were blessed that we didn't have to do it that way. But I see a lot of my friends and colleagues not attempting that. And I feel for them, and I try to understand, like, I understand a company with 80 people might need to do a lot, right? You might have to do some things. You might have to restructure differently than a company with less than 10 people. But I can say no. It comes down to saying no. This is not the right thing. This is not what I would do. No, I don't want to do this. And figuring out, what do we want to do as a team here? What kind of projects do we want to go after? And what's the point where we're going to say, yeah, maybe this isn't the right move for us.
I'm going to give a few shout outs here. People that are live chatting with us. We have Jesse. He says, Jesse Silva says, hello, my friends. What's up, Jesse?
Hey, Jesse.
And Eddie Shapiro, our CEDIA board member and fantastic integrator out of the DC area. He says, education is key. And he also says, I like Paul's approach. Less clients, better systems, and better projects.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it was Eric Teese, right? Just had an article that's going around CE Pro where he kind of talked about that, less, you don't need more clients, you need more closes, right? Or better closes. I think if you guys watching haven't read that piece, it's pretty fantastic. And it is certainly the way my mind tries to go. Like, I don't want to grab everything that's out there. I want to be able to deliver the right kind of projects for the right people. And, that then turns into referrals. It turns into a happy team. It turns into a happy Paul, that's my goal for sure.
I think that's tremendous wisdom. It took me years to learn that as well here at One Firefly.
Took me enough.
We have a situation I was going over with my team this morning, and it was an example of just a bad project, bad customer, bad situation. And we'll get through it just fine. But it was an example to my team. It was a learning opportunity, I like to call them, of all money is not the same. All clients are not the same. Better is better. And if we work with better and do better projects, everyone has more fun. And it just, everybody wins versus spinning wheels and wasting time with things that aren't terribly efficient.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And you shouldn't call me a pain in the butt client while I'm on your show, Ron. I mean, it's not really a fair approach.
I would never do that, although that'd be really creative if I did that and I managed to weave that in. That's funny. Liam says, hey, Paul, say no to, he's naming brands. I think I need to pull that back off here.
He's being a wise guy.
That's going to get us in trouble. All right. I'm going to put a picture here up on the screen. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Talking about performance, I have only recently learned, call me uninformed, that you race motorcycles, and this is like a thing that you do this all over the world. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I say race because it's easier to understand. Like, I'm not competitively racing, at least not now. But I do track days, right? So I have a couple of motorcycles. I would not ride them on the street, especially not in North Jersey, because that's going to end badly. There's way too many people on the road that don't care.
What does a track day mean? Educate me. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So let's say you go to a racetrack, whatever your local racetrack is, wherever you are. You're in California?
No, I'm down in Fort Lauderdale.
So in Fort Lauderdale, I guess the Homestead might be the closest racetrack, Homestead in Miami.
Sure.
So you could show up, you could sign up and show up with 100 other people. They might break you into 3 groups of, intermediate, beginner, and you get track time. You get to race the track, right, with other people. So you might get like, in a course of a day, you might get 8 sessions of 15 to 20 minutes of track time, right, where you get to go out and, I wouldn't call it racing, although everybody thinks it's a race, right? So if you're out there with 20 people, inherently they just start racing each other, especially as you get to the more advanced groups.
Right.
And some of them do have like mock races on them. But yeah, you pay a couple of $100, you can go to a track and not only just race, but we're all about education, right? Actually get educated on how to do it properly, which is something that pre-COVID, I was doing a lot of. There's a track in upstate New York where I would help coach out and host events and have people come and, train them how to be safer and faster.
Now, you would not brag about this, but I'm going to lightly brag because you told me, and I think it's just really cool. You've tried, and you like, Ron, don't say this. You've gone and done track days with Keanu Reeves, like, you know, Mr. Matrix himself, Neo.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah. Yeah. And just by pure chance, I have a really amazing friend that I've made over the years who's part of his group, and he owns a motorcycle company called Arch. And they do track days, and they're traveling around when they can or when he can and get away and get on the track versus driving the streets of LA, which I'm sure is pitiful. Yes. But yeah, completely blessed. Like I have done no work in my life to get to the point where I get to say, yes, I have done that. And I've been in, Europe, and I've been in Australia to race, and with some really, really amazing people that, I don't deserve to be able to hang out with.
Is that an expensive hobby or not so much? Like you get your bike and it's not that bad. It sounds expensive.
It's much, if you're in the
car
car
relative
world,
though.
It's all relative. In the car, if you're in the car world, it is much less expensive than being a car track guy, right? Because just tires alone and getting a car to a track. Like when I'm out of the country, I fly out and I rent a bike. I don't like send my own stuff over and do it. I mean, a track day, whether it's in New Jersey or it's in Italy, are not very different in price in terms of how much you're paying to be on the track. It's just the getting there and the other things. So, no. My answer would be no. The experience I had specifically in Italy a few years ago, on a world-renowned racetrack, it's one of the most amazing racetracks in the world.
Which one was it?
Mugello, it's called. So Mugello's.
Is that where you are in this picture, or maybe the other one?
Yes. Yeah, that was in Mugello, which is about an hour outside of Florence.
Okay. How fast would you be going in this picture?
I mean, I'm in a turn there, so I don't know. Anywhere from 40 to 90 miles an hour, probably in that image. Okay. On that racetrack, you come out of the last turn, and you're probably at like 110 exiting the turn. And then you do, on those bikes, those were BMW S1000, so they're pretty fast bikes. You'd hit like 187 by the end of the straightaway. So it's a big open European racetrack. It's fantastic. Like, it's making me sad that I'm not there now.
That sounds so terrifying.
It is. You try being my wife. Like, she's got to deal with this.
That's great. Does she stay home?
Do it.
Does she stay home when you go around the world and do track days, or does she come with?
She would not watch me. She does not want to see me ride. Like, she can barely watch videos of it. It's too, for some reason she still likes me after 20 years. I can't really understand it, but she still does.
There's a pretty fantastic comment here. Kelly says, where do you stand with the Keanu Reeves is immortal conspiracy theory? Do you have any inside information here?
No, but I will say this. Everything you see on the internet about this man being the nicest human being in the world, every bit of that is absolutely true. Like, every bit of that is absolutely true. He is just, if there's a line of people looking to get his autograph and he's 2 hours late for dinner with his friends, he's not gonna leave until that line is done. That's like the kind of person he is.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just a nice guy. I mean, that part is true. And I see somebody saying about Arch Motorcycles, that company, they are amazing. They are works of art.
Yeah, I'm putting it up there now. Yeah. Carlos says Arch Motorcycles, amazing. So you know the owner of this company, or that's That's someone that,
yeah. He's a part owner, and then there's another guy that's an owner that is, more the hands-on guy that's not out filming movies while he's running a company. But they're a premium product, right? They're like if you took a street cruiser like a Harley and put all these sport parts on it and hand built it. They're very expensive, very, very expensive bikes, but they are unbelievable.
All right, I'm going to give a few more shout outs here. Then I want to get into the juicy stuff here with all your marketing and videography projects. But I'm going to give Keith with HTSA shout out. He says, great to see you, Paul, on the podcast. Another awesome new HTSA member. We are thrilled to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
And then Keith also adds, he says, interesting how many car motors people we have in our industry. Do you perceive that there's a lot of motorheads in the space?
There are a lot of them. Yeah. More car guys for sure. A lot of car guys in the industry. But I've come across a few moto, even industry adjacent. Like I knew a guy for 20 years doing shading in our industry and had no idea that we were both into moto until one day we bumped into each other at a track 8 hours from our house. And it was like, what are you doing here? They are, but I think a lot of us are,
gotta have hobbies,
speed freaks or, adrenaline junkies.
All right. So where I want to take this now, you had mentioned to me that you had a hobby around photography, and I'm gonna ask if that hobby also included videography. But I know that your comfort around the camera has led to some really innovative marketing. And I'm going to show my screen and show lots of fun stuff that you've been producing. But just if we could talk for a moment about photography, is this a habit or not a habit, but a hobby you picked up later in life, or did you have this earlier?
Photography, I got into, I want to say like 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I feel like I've lost so much time. Like what I think was 3 years ago was 10 years ago. It doesn't, the space-time continuum is definitely whacked. So I'd say about 10 years ago, right? Got into it lightly, started traveling more, started doing more of these moto events. And of course, then I had motorcycles and other cool things to take pictures of. And I've been doing that for a while. And then video was new to me. Like video, I didn't really get into until we were talking about Johnny Furtazzi before, right? Johnny Furtazzi's who helped us with our videos. Amazing guy, super artistic, also into photography. And once I saw what we could do on a higher level, then my brain broke, right? My brain completely broke when it came to video. And I wasn't really going to go far down that rabbit hole. And my wife kind of forced the issue. Like my wife, as a birthday gift to me, was like, no, you're getting a camera. Like, go to the store, you have this new place, start playing with it. And like most things now, I'm obsessed with it. I haven't been doing a lot of it lately, but if you could see to my right, it's like,
well, I want you to grab that stuff. Actually. Yeah, can you grab the camera? Because I'm gonna have you talk about what you've got and your approach. So what I'm going to show in just a minute, I'm going to show your YouTube channel and your Instagram. But tell us, what do you have there in your hands? And then we'll get to what are you doing with it?
Yeah, this is just, it looks like chaos, but this is the Sony A7 S3. For people that are into photography like it's quite garbage as a photo camera, which was sad because I was hoping to be able to use it for both. But as a 4K HDR video camera, for the money, one of the best things I've seen, one of the best things you'll read about if you actually look at it. It's a really small camera. I just have it in one of these Condor kind of frames. This just makes it easier to mount stuff to and use it. But this camera, 4K, it'll shoot 4K 60. It'll shoot 4K 240, I think, or 120. You would never shoot that way because it's just too much. You're not going to upload to YouTube in that res. And even our videos, which you've seen that look pretty great, those are still down converted to 1080p. But it's a pleasure. Like, I could walk through my backyard with that thing and just like shoot some video and move around. And I'm just like obsessive about it.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show which video. If I show a video here, and for those on the podcast, you're going to have to jump over to the video. I'm going to show one of the videos that Electronic Concepts has up on their YouTube channel. What would be a good one?
I mean, I would say either the main one that's up at the top. That's probably the best one. That's like the showroom tour. The first one. The showroom tour or the hi-fi video are the two best, but I think the showroom tour is cool. The hi-fi one's like kind of got a funny throwback to the old Maxell commercial, you know, kind of guy blown away in a chair thing, which is
all right. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change my microphone so I can attempt to pick up the audio. So now you should hear me, correct, Paul?
Yeah.
All right, but I'm gonna rotate that mic and I'm gonna play the video. And what we're seeing here is, so maybe why don't you talk us through what we're seeing, just for the podcast listeners, what's happening here?
Yeah, so now we're kind of in the hi-fi room there. Then we came out. This is the main showroom floor. We're showing Savant daylight mode here with USAI fixtures, Geiger shades. Back in the hi-fi room, Magico and D'Agostino, which are our favorites. This is the dedicated theater now. Reflectel, if you guys haven't seen, these are really cool mirror TVs, custom framed. More Savant goodies. Woo! This video makes me happy every time I see it.
There you go. I just switched my audio back. So that looks amazing. How did you think, and what did you do once you thought it? How did you think to start creating kick butt videos to promote your business?
So, I mean, I've been thinking about it for a while, not at that level. I've just been thinking about our social media, right? And like doing lives and doing, you know, stories on Instagram and that kind of thing, and thinking like, this is cool, but it's not as engaging, right? It's not professional enough where even if I was looking at it, I would be like sucked into it, right? Like the goal was to get sucked into it like it was a movie or your favorite TV show. And, you know, again, I'm going to bring up Johnny's name. John Fertazzi has done a lot of videos for the industry. You know, he's done a lot of stuff for Lutron, for other integrators, for other manufacturers. And he and I started talking, and what I realized was like, we have the ability to actually get it out there, right? And I figured we had the know-how and the audience to start putting content out there where it would actually get out there, like really get out there, not just share with our clients or share with, you know, architects and designers, like get it out there and get feedback from it. And once we got into it, we realized like, okay, we have this sexy space, we could do it. I know he could make this incredible video, right? Or that we could make this incredible video. And the hi-fi video that you're showing now, like that concept, we must have talked about that concept for like a year easily before we shot that. And so we had to come down to the idea of like, what's it going to cost? What are we going to show? And what's the marketing plan for it? Which the marketing plan was really on my end. Johnny had to put together making it awesome, right? Which he succeeded. So my mentality, and I've spoken on a couple of like other sort of podcast things, and even Clubhouse. If you guys are on Clubhouse, I know half my Clubhouse family are in the audience watching now. Like Clubhouse has been a great place to talk about this with other people, especially like the UK guys. Like I would never talk to these guys, and now I have this format where I could talk to integrators all over the world about getting the vendors to help you, right? Like this is a very expensive thing to do. Like those videos, really expensive. Like expensive in the sense that if you saw it in $1 amount, you'd be like, wow, that's a lot of money to spend. But if you thought about what it could do for you, it's a tiny drop in the bucket, right? It's like, it's in Ron, I'm speaking to the choir. It's like marketing dollars, right? Like we all look at it and go, oh my God, I'm not going to spend that much money. So what we did is once I had the plan, I started leveraging my social media with the manufacturers and saying, hey, I have more followers than you do, right? We want to make this video. We want to give you a piece of it. We want to show your products in it. And some of them, open arms. They were like, here, how much money do you want? We'll keep giving it to you, right? We're failing. We're not doing a great job at this. Some really weren't interested. You know, there's one company that like should have been all over it, and I'm not going to say any names. I'm just going to look at it. I'm just going to look back at it.
It might be back there in that
yeah
stack of gear.
Anyone that knows me knows what I'm talking about. But they wanted nothing to do with it. They wouldn't even respond to an email. Like it was like, hey, we're going to make this really amazing video of your stuff. So some companies care and some companies do not care. The ones that cared, open arms. We gave them a concept. We spoke about what the game plan was. We spoke about the deliverables. And they said, when do you want the money and where do we send it? Right? I'll say this about that. It's not as simple as it sounds. You have to be able to show what you're going to do with it and why is it worth it for them. But being post-COVID and still COVID world, like these companies haven't spent money on these things. They haven't gone to a trade show. They haven't used their marketing budgets because they haven't had a reason to. So yes, it's expensive. It's going to be expensive to make it. It's going to be expensive to get it out there, but there are ways to get support for this, right? But what you need to do is have a plan. And I see so many people doing this without a plan, right? There just doesn't seem, it's like, hey, we got the content, we got an idea, we filmed it, and then it, you know, they shoot it out on an email blast and that's the end of it, right? It just sits somewhere. That I don't find to be a good investment for anyone.
Are you, just to get a little bit into the weeds here, on YouTube, and I'm going to jump to different platforms through our conversation, but in terms of YouTube, you know, for example, I see your couple of videos here have 136,000 views. Your concept, electronic concepts design center video, your hi-fi experience video has 103,000 views. These are pretty impressive numbers. I'll just say for integrators or people in our space, these are really legit numbers. Is this all organic reach out there on YouTube, or is there any paid promotion strategies on YouTube?
Definitely paid strategies in there, right? There is, some of them are paid and some of them, like some of it's organic. I can't tell you what the split is in between what's organic, but 1000%, these are paid targeted campaigns, right? So let's use the Experience Center as an example. That video has been, I think on Instagram, it probably has like 80,000 views, almost 80,000 views on Instagram as well. I'd say probably 30,000 of those were organic. And then the rest were also targeted. Here's a good example of something that I see failure in the marketing place and how we did it. And I'm not saying that I'm the gospel or that I'm right about this, but I could have just said, hey, put this video everywhere, Instagram, put it everywhere, Facebook, and I probably have 1 million views by now on that video. It does me no good to do that. It doesn't do the business any good. It doesn't do, you know, just to have a video out there. Actually, it would get annoying because then we start getting trolls that are just going to make comments on our videos just to make comments. Both those videos were targeted to only the tri-state area, right? So only New Jersey, only northern New Jersey, Manhattan, Westchester, Connecticut. And they were targeted to people with special interests. I mean, we really dug down to where the video would be played and how it would be played. So I can say we have 136,000 views, and probably the majority of them, they're all within 45 minutes to an hour of our physical location, which was the goal, right? Why do I want people in Utah to see my videos? I don't necessarily want to go there. I don't just want followers. I don't just want likes. I want conversions, right? I want someone to walk in the store and say, hey, I saw your videos. I wanted to find out more about X, or hey, I saw your video and I just wanted to see the place, which happens a lot. We have people walking in, calling the store saying, I saw the videos. When can I come in for a demo, or can you show me or talk to me about home automation? Like, if we start tracking that and those turn into projects, I guarantee you any of those projects wiped out everything I spent on both videos, everything I spent on the marketing, and probably put some money in the company's pocket at the end of that.
I'm going to ask you the magic question, and I'm going to be super high level. I'm up here at 50,000 feet. Do you think that the money you spent on marketing has delivered a return on investment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Just the leads that we've gotten. You're talking about the videos, right?
I'm thinking in general, all market, this magical category in your P&L called marketing as a cost of doing business. That category is funded by you in some way. Do you feel, if you look back at the last 12 months or 24 months, that investment has delivered a return to your business?
Yeah, without question. Without question. And especially, I mean, you know what market we're in the New York metro market, right? I can't throw a rock without, if I threw a rock right now, I'd probably hit 4 other integrators that are passing the store on the highway. And they're all friends. A lot of us are friends, and we're not really competing, right? We're not bidding against each other. But if somebody goes on Google, they're going to see me and 25 other people in this area. So, and Ron, as well, like I'm all about SEM, right? I would love to organically be the guy. I want to be the guy that shows up in this area, because between our store and between some of the other things, we stand out, right? So if we're at the top of that list and somebody goes, oh, look, there's these 5 other people, or there's this place that has a place where I can go in and tangibly get a taste of some of these things and see a theater, and we're going to win. We're going to win every time, right? We're going to be the ones that get the first call.
One of your friendly competitors just commented, Michael Restrepo, he says, working together.
Yeah. And Mike, so like another part of what we've done here is we've made a space, a design center, where other integrators can use our space, to help sell different products, maybe products that they couldn't get, or experiences that they couldn't sell. And I'm open to that. We're not like, hey, don't come in my store. Anyone's welcome here. And if we can help sell a better product for someone, why wouldn't we do that? That just elevates the game in the whole area. It makes it easier for us to all sell a better product if we're all selling a better product, right? And there's not the product that's down here being offered by 50 people and the product up here by 3. Like, the customers don't want this. I don't care what you think. They don't want this. You're just not telling them about this. Maybe they end up here, but if you don't tell them about this and this, they don't know how to get there. Like, you're not going to go buy a car without power windows.
I personally experienced this just in November, December, January, February. My wife and I were in a process of, we'd made a decision for the first time in our life, we're going to put a pool behind our house. And so we were interviewing all these different pool design companies. Yeah. And we interviewed, of course, maybe about 8 companies. And it was terribly fascinating how some of them self-restricted the scope, finishes, characteristics of the design, because they were making assumptions around what they maybe thought we would buy, or thought we could afford, or thought we might be interested in. And other pool designers showed us the whole landscape. Yeah. They said, here's the spectrum. Understand, if you go do this, here's what it means. And, we landed somewhere. We didn't buy the most expensive. We didn't buy the cheapest, but we landed somewhere that really comfortably felt right in terms of the features and benefits of that product. And I could see, though, how some of those firms were only showcasing a small spectrum of all the options. And it's self-limiting.
It's very self-limiting. And it's, I'm like a broken record with this statement. I say it a lot, and a lot of my colleagues say it a lot. The old, you're selling with your wallet, not theirs. I mean, that's factual. You're not ripping somebody off by offering them a better product. You're actually hurting them. And we see a lot of people do that because they're afraid, which I respect, right? If you don't have sales training, or you're not comfortable doing that. But the clients want to see it. Like I said, I always use car analogies because it's easy for everyone. Like, if you consider a speaker for $100 or a speaker for $500, and you make the comparison of the car without the power windows and the car with the power windows, you're going to pick the power windows every time for that cost difference. And your clients are going to do the same thing. But yeah, it's very self-limiting to go in at the bottom without any discussion about the top. And if you went in higher and you can't back a client down, like Ron, a good example, if one of the pool guys came and showed you a pool that was $100,000 over your budget, you weren't going to run away. You were going to say, hey, you know what? I don't think I want to spend this, but I'm a customer right about here.
There you go.
And if you're not comfortable with that, you shouldn't be doing sales, right? Like, you have to be able to go, like, everyone's heard this statement: I want the best speakers money could buy. Someone's walked in or in a meeting, said, I want the best speakers money could buy. Well, at the guy down the street, that might be $1,000. In here, that could be $200,000. So, like, I'll come back to education always. That's about educating your customer and helping them understand what the differences are, and saying, hey, I know this may not be what you're looking for, but we offer this.
Let me show you what's possible, and then fit you in where it matches your expectations and your ability to spend.
no one is going to be upset by that, right? So yeah, it's funny. It's the don't sell with your wallet, sell with theirs, and you have no idea what's in their wallet. And I'm spoiled of seeing this because the hi-fi world is kind of a funny world, right? Like the guys that are buying, a lot of the guys that are buying really reference level systems, most of them, their systems probably cost more than their homes do, right? And if you don't understand that, they're going to walk out the door. You know, you might look at them and think like, there's no way this guy could afford X. You know, but it's irrelevant. They might save for 20 years every paycheck so that they can have that system, that speaker, that turntable. So it's prepared me for how I look at, you know, the rest of the industry too. Like you got to offer that. Some customers are going to go to the guy that is the most expensive just because they want to tell their friends they spent the most money, right? So if you win that job, then give them the best product you can give for the money. You didn't somehow like screw them over by doing that, you know? They're giving you the opportunity to wow them. You know, don't run away.
What's a way, Paul, that this belief, which I'm entirely on board for, everything you've just said about giving your clients options, not thinking with your own wallet. What are ways that that's translated in your approach to CI, into the integrated system in the home? I see how it's very objectively obvious to me, at least. You can show the client a $1,000 to $200,000 spread on a 2-channel system. Do some of those beliefs translate into the way that you approach whole home integrated systems?
Yeah, it kind of has to. I feel like it has to. You never know what experience that customer's had previously, or what trim level they might have had previously. So you really have to understand. You have to ask questions, right? So I'll bring it back to like my story of how I got into this industry, right? So I did corporate security after I did regular, you know, bus shoplifters thing. And when I did that, I had to take training. It was called Wicklander and Zawalski. It's like the same training for years that they gave the FBI and the CIA for interrogation. I'm not saying take this training, but look at it. Look at like neurolinguistics, right? Your eyes move this way. This is what you're recalling, you're thinking. Those tools that I got in a completely different industry helped me to navigate sales meetings, right? And this is something that, you know, I just went down a deep dark hole of like, this is a really crazy way to have gotten it. But if you're not listening to a customer and you're not reading the visual cues, then you can't do this. It's impossible to do this, right? If you're not looking in someone's face and you're talking about a $200,000 speaker and their eyes got wide or their eyes didn't get wide, you know, or they turned away or they changed the subject, if you're not reading those signs or trying to interpret those signs, then you'll never be able to do it, right? You might not be able to back yourself out of that corner if they were like, what the hell are you doing trying to sell me this? So it takes a lot, right? And I am not the quintessential sales guy, right? I really can't stand sales guys.
Sales is a dirty word, right?
Yeah, and it's not like, I did an interview, I think it was with Bob Archer, and we were talking about this, like the art of the sales pitch, right? And I'm like, listen, just let them talk and read what they're saying. Like don't just listen to their words. You have to look at their body language. You have to look at their face. And that's in anything you're selling. I don't care if it's CI, I don't care if it's shades, right? Like it's anything that we do in this industry. If you're paying attention and you can interpret the body language and, you know, the eye motions and their facial expressions, you'll get a lot of what you need just from that alone. So it does translate, but I think you need tools to do that. You know, whether it's organic for you and you've just been doing, a lot of guys just built that way. They've just been doing it. You know, I got mine in a weird way. And when someone talks to me, I'm constantly looking at where their eyes going. You know, Zoom has made this a lot more difficult, right? To get a sense of, you know, where people's heads are at. But, you know, just listen. Too many sales guys talk and they're already thinking about the next thing. And they're not actually listening to the content that a customer is giving them, and then you're done. You've lost it. You know, you can't even go to like, hey, let me show you the cool room back here.
Yeah, Jeremy over at level 3, he's posted a comment. He says, "Listen with all your senses, not just your ears."
Amen. That's a great statement. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, watch it. Using your eyes are more important than your ears, almost in these kind of sales things. Like you have to, especially if you're trying to figure out where they sit in are they going to spend this much or this much? You know, it's a lot about body language and facial expression.
Yeah, it's funny. Now with COVID, it's hip for all of us, everyone tuning in, all of us in this industry to be behind a camera and to turn our cameras on for meetings. And I was turning my camera on before 2020, right? And I was coaching my team to turn their camera on before 2020, because not only can, as you've communicated, can you read the other person, but if you believe that so much of communication is nonverbal, then you can deliver so much messaging non-verbally.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
And so One Firefly, we were our company wide for internal meetings. There was no audio only internal meetings for years.
Good. Yeah.
Always camera on. We need to see each other. We need to communicate because so much is happening with the hands, the eyes, the facial expressions. Yeah, it's all genius.
It turns into emotion, right? Like I'm someone who says this a lot, and I hate saying it because it sounds corny, but it's a fact. Like, we choose our systems and sell in the stratosphere, when it comes to selling performance, by emotion. I'm selling products based on my emotional response to them, right? So those Magico speakers and those D'Agostino amps are back there because of all the things I listened to at the time in that price range. I felt the most emotionally attached to it. Now, what does that mean when I explain it to a customer? It means that I'm naturally giving them my feelings genuinely to them. They understand it in seconds that I'm passionate about these products. I'm not just selling them a box, right? And so many people on industry are just selling boxes. Here's a box, here's a box, here's a box, here's a box. You want more boxes? We'll get you more boxes. You want boxes in the ceiling? We could do that all day long. I don't want to sell that way. And I don't think some customers want that, right? They don't want to know anything about their project, just get it done. But a lot of them, and the ones that are willing to spend big money for experiences, right? Stereo experience, immersive cinema experience, those things need to be communicated by you in a way that is genuine, right? Or that you have the knowledge and the expertise and the emotional attachment to that stuff to help them make their decision.
Chris Gamble from the UK is, of course, razzing you, and he goes, "Who is this? Who is this sales Jedi?"
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
That's great.
I have no sales experience. I really don't, other than my own personal experience, the way that I've done it. And I'm learning every day, right? And I learned from Jedis that have been in the industry, mainly like some of the sales reps that have been around, right? That have done it the wrong way or have seen it done the wrong way for so many years. Like, I ask those guys, how do you sell this? How have you done it? And then like I said, if you sell by emotion, you can't fail. They may not buy, but you didn't fail if they didn't buy. You at least put a plant in somebody's head that, wow, that guy really loves that stuff. I wonder if I'll love it. If I can hear it somewhere, I have the money, maybe I'll do it one day.
Jesse Silva says, never sell products with your pocketbook. It risks leaving money on the table, and you might be cutting your client short of the experience and performance they want.
Absolutely. Yeah. What if you sell your guy like the $1,000 option, and then he goes to his best friend's house next weekend, and that guy has the $50,000 option, and he comes back to you and says, "What the hell, man? Why didn't you show me that?" Fail.
Amen. Lots of great comments out there. Thank you, everyone that's tuning in live here. It's a pretty dynamic chat feed, so it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, it's pretty active, but I'm mindful of time, and I actually do want to get into some other topics here. Sure. And we risk running long, so I'm gonna scoot us along here a little bit. You, Paul, have a super set of dynamic social channels. And I'm going to, in fact, give you a shout out because I'm here. I'm showing on the screen for those that are listening. I'm showing the Instagram page for Electronic Concepts, and they have 16.2 thousand followers. And Paul, I asked you before we went live, I said, did you do a paid strategy to get this, or are these all legit organic followers? You're like, Ron, this is all unpaid. There's no bots here. This is real.
Yeah, no bots. I mean, we do promotions every so often for certain products, but none paid followers. You can always tell when it's paid, right? If someone's got 15,000 followers and their pictures have 5 likes, it's not organic. And again, why would I want that? I want conversions. That's what you should strive for with your business pages, right? Is conversions.
So you are doing a lot. Well, before I lead you, just tell us, how do you think about your Instagram page, and how do you, what do you do actively, daily, weekly, monthly with your Instagram page to continue driving your business forward?
Oh God. I mean, it's like it changes weekly for me, right? I mean, it depends on time. I am the owner of Electronic Concepts, and I'm trying to manage my social media, but that's because I'm a control freak, right? I'm not suggesting that everyone do that. I just saw Brandy say quality followers versus quantity. Yeah, amen, Brandy. That's exactly right. So I don't think I spend enough time doing it. And if you ask my wife, she would certainly argue the opposite of that, because most of my social media gets done on the weekend, right? Like I'll take stuff on jobs if I'm out there, but when I don't, I have to catch up, on a Saturday or Sunday. Instagram for me is my favorite, right? Instagram, I think, has become the right place to be for branding if you're going to have a campaign that is, photo driven. YouTube, and we were on the HTSA thing, Ron, and I had asked you about video because I was curious. I was curious if other people were doing YouTube, because there's not a lot of guys, not in the CI space. There's a lot of guys doing unboxings and product demos and things like that, which I'm not interested in. I don't think that, we are a retail space, but that's not.
You're not selling boxes.
We're not selling boxes. The kind of stuff we're selling, you have to experience, right? You have to come in for it. And I have nothing against those guys. I watch a lot of those videos because I'm personally interested, but I'm a tech geek. I'm not the typical end user. So I'm curious. I would love to see, like, YouTube's just so much damn work. Like making the videos is so much work. So that's a newer thing for us, right? And you'll see, like, I have a couple of videos that have 100,000 plus video, views, and then I got a few that have like nothing, right? Me just tooling around in the showroom. But as far as it goes on Instagram, I'm constantly looking at the metrics, right? I'm posting content, I'm going back, posting content, going back. I'm looking at where the follows are coming from. I'm looking at what, did someone react? Did we get more reactions because we had this product or this type of install? And then I'm taking notes on that, right? And then I'm rinse and repeat, take advantage of when you get a lot of likes on something, trying to repeat it. And I don't try to blast too much content out there. I think that's, for me, in our experience, we'll lose more followers if we if we overdo it with content. Stories are one thing. If you want to do a story every 10 minutes and put stories out there, I think that's fine. But when you
do stories, is that a technique that you're practicing yet?
I do. We have a bunch, and every once in a while, like, I'll do a story for a project and then save that story as a project so you can kind of see the start to finish. I think for the industry, they care about it. I think some end users, some clients want to see that, that kind of start to finish thing. I think stories are cool. I do. I think you could put a bunch of pieces together and have this whole thing that you can go back to and save it on your homepage. I like it a lot. Lives, I think where we get most of the love, believe it or not. And I don't get to do that enough. But doing a live, in the showroom, or if we're on a job and going over a few things, those, we've seen a lot of views, like organic. No, you can't even promote a live. I don't think you can once you've saved it. And those are getting thousands, right? Thousands of views over, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of just, us playing around. So Ron, you were just in the new guides page. That's something I think we're going to start playing with.
I don't even know what that is. I'm admitting this publicly. What is guide? That's the first time seeing it.
So Instagram, I think they did this more for like the art communities, where people are showing, like, I've seen it more in the art communities. This is how you create a painting, and they're doing like step 1. So us as integrators, we could be using this and be like, this is how you put in a speaker. Or this is how we started this project. And you can scoop a bunch of things together and save it as a guide, right? This is how to set up, USA lighting with an app and make it a guide. It's really a story, but you can break it into different pieces. It's interesting. I haven't focused on it enough.
How long has that been out?
Maybe a month or two, I think. Maybe a little longer.
What many people don't realize, at least from my experience, is like they call it Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. Thing, yeah. But what they don't realize is that within Instagram, there's like 5 or 6 different channels within Instagram. there's your posts, there's your IGTV, there's lives, there's your stories, there's your guides, there's so many different elements.
There's a lot
to going deep into a given platform. It's interesting. I keep getting bounced out. I clearly don't know what I'm doing here, but here I'm back
yeah,
into
Instagram on the computer is tough.
It is tough. But this is impressive. If you're out there listening and you haven't checked out Electronic Concepts on Instagram, I mean, this is legit, people. These posts are getting 1,000+ likes or engagements. There are very few channels in the world, in our industry, getting this level of engagement. So I'm always about putting out best practice, and there's just really smart, thoughtful, critical thinking going into the type of content that's on this page. So I commend you,
I appreciate
Paul.
that, Rob. Yeah, and if anyone ever has questions, I'm not worried about the sauce, right? Giving away the sauce. Like, it could take you 10 years to build a page like this, right? You know, if you want to build it overnight, then you're going to get paid bots and you're going to do it. But to build this organically, it's time consuming. But if anybody ever has questions on this stuff, yeah, really don't hesitate. I'm happy to at least give you what I've learned, you know, how I've kind of done it, where I've gone with it. And I follow everyone, right? If I'm not following your company out there and you're listening to this, please, you know, send me a message, because I love supporting the Instagram, you know, integrator community. Like, I have a lot of friends all over, like Jesse Silva was here. I wouldn't have known Jesse. We were probably going to Savant summits together, but we started chatting on Instagram because I saw his page, he saw mine. You know, and then you get chatting and you build relationships from that, and you can support each other. I think it's really useful.
Yeah, Jesse's been on this show, and
yeah, I saw.
And he talked about winning jobs off of Instagram. People seeing his content, sending private messages, that leading to projects. So it's real. How do you think about Facebook? How do you think about Facebook for your business?
So I used to spend more time worrying about it when you could get reviews on Facebook. Right. And then once the review situation changed, like any post I post on Instagram, I hit the button in Instagram to share it to Facebook as well. We do get engagements from Facebook. We'll get messages from potential end users, but it's tough. Like, without the review things, I don't know. Instagram's so much easier.
You can get reviews, but it's a thumb up or thumb down.
It's a thumb down. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I'm not even interested. I mean, you and I had this conversation, I think, at an ASION thing like years ago.
Yeah.
Like, we were fighting for Facebook reviews. And I think at the time we had like 40 Facebook reviews. We were killing it on Facebook as far as integrators went. And right when we were having that convo, you were like, hey, you know, they changed that. And I was like, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, like, wah. Yeah, no, it just for those that are listening that don't know exactly what we're talking about, I'll just describe it. Facebook used to allow for your business to receive a 1 to 5 star. So, you know, you could be on average 4.5 stars out of 5, you know, based on 50 reviews. And what was more interesting is that if someone searched for your business in Google, those Facebook reviews, the quantitative score would actually populate generally on page 1 of search.
Yep.
In August,
we were killing it then.
You were killing it because you were on top of the game, driving those reviews. In August, I want to say of either, maybe one of my team can drop into the notes. August, I know it was August, maybe 18 or 19, Facebook changed and they did away with the scoring. So you only can do thumb up or thumb down on your reviews. And thus all of those new reviews since 2018 to the present do not show up in your Google searches. And it's terrible, especially for all of us businesses that, you know, have active review profiles on Facebook. It was a sad day. I'm not going to lie. But you know, such is life.
Yeah, it was bad. So I'd say around that time though, Ron, I think is where I started not caring as much about what we did with Facebook. Again, everything I go to Instagram shares to Facebook. The only platform I'm unactive on really is like, we have a page for Twitter, but we could just never get into Twitter. I don't feel like it was the right space for us. And we joked about TikTok, right? So I have a TikTok page, but I use it solely for testing content to see what stuff gets likes and what stuff doesn't, and then I can post that stuff on Instagram. Because I think TikTok is an interesting place that I'm not so sure yet is for us.
Maybe one last question about social, and then we'll close out. Do you do anything on LinkedIn?
I do, yeah. So, but I didn't for the longest time, and I'd say about a year or 2 years ago, I finally started posting more stuff on, like the company's Instagram, the company's LinkedIn page. It's a different audience, right? Really, that's just like, so we're sharing or we're giving love to the manufacturers, or we're just sharing with our colleagues what we're doing. So it's different. It's more fun, right? I don't really have an agenda. I feel like when I do it on LinkedIn, that's more of like, hey guys, enjoy this, or, you know, let me know what you think, than it is trying to make a conversion, right? Although, I mean, there are potential clients out there, right, following us on LinkedIn, but it wouldn't be my intention. And I don't think it hurts, but if you're like most of us, fighting for time and looking to do social posts to gain followers, to gain business, to create conversions, I don't know how worthwhile the LinkedIn side of it is. I just don't know.
What's your outlook, Paul, for 2021? How's business going to be for you?
We're crazy. Yeah. I mean, we kind of went crazy, you know, a couple of months into COVID, things got busy. We got super busy. A lot of our work is in New York City. So that kind of stalled for a while, but it's back, you know, projects are coming in again. We're buried. I'll say that we're pretty buried. And as everyone else is dealing with, supply chain is a disaster. So, you know, it doesn't really matter how busy you are. If you can't get the product, it's going to slow us down at some point. But yeah, I'm feeling good, really feeling good. I think, and I'm doubling down on our marketing at this point, because we're already doing good. And if something changes, I want to be ahead of whatever happens once restrictions lift and people start getting back to normal. You know, my goal is to be, if you do a search, we need to be the guys. You need to see our showroom video or our pictures wherever you go in this area, right? Which is, I'm sure, going to piss off a lot of people, but they're not my problem.
Amen. Well,
right?
Paul, you are a thought leader and an innovator, and it's been a pleasure to interview you here for our audience and learn more about the way you think and operate your business. For those that are listening or watching and they want to learn more about you, what do you recommend? Where do you want to direct them?
Yeah, Instagram is good. If you want to, you can send me a message on Instagram. I mean, anyone can hit me up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably the best place. If you're integrator or other and you want to connect, I would say LinkedIn. You know, Paul Bochner, you'll find it pretty easily there.
Okay. We'll put those links down in the comments, and we'll also put the information over on the show page on the One Firefly website. Paul, it was a pleasure having you on the show, sir, for number 165. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ron. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I appreciate the nice words. I didn't build a submarine and race it, so I have a lot to.
You listen. That's cool. That's cool. I appreciate that.
That was a great episode.
Thank you so much, Paul. Be well, sir.
Take care, guys.
All right, team, there you have it. Team One Firefly, you guys are still here with me. Thanks. This is a long show, but it was worth it, man. Paul is full of wisdom, and his business is on fire. And I love sharing those ideas and that enthusiasm with all of you. As always, I'm going to remind you, if you have not subscribed, I know there might only be 1 or 2 of you left that have not subscribed to Automation Unplugged. Please go to your app and subscribe. That way you get all the latest updates. And this podcast will drop, next week. We're usually about 1 week delayed, and you'll be able to download this and share this out with your friends. Or of course, you can always share the Facebook video out with anyone that you think would benefit from it. And on that note, I am gonna wish you all adieu. Bid you adieu, and visit us at our website, onefirefly.com. Certainly, you can always give us a call. And until next week, I will see you then. Be well. Get vaccinated.